Welcome to the Christian Call Center where Jesus is on the main line and we're on line too.
All right. Welcome back. It's another episode. We on episode 13. Let's go.
Woo! Yay!
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've been doing this back to back thing. It's really exciting. Like I'm really proud of us. We've been really, putting ourselves forward, getting more involved, you know.
Doing the doggone thing.
Yeah. But yeah, like as y'all know, we're doing this little summer series called the Courtship. Last week we talked scouting. This week though, we did our preliminary searches. We did all the first little, we put our feelers out. But now it's time to narrow down the field. It's draft day.
Trash thing. Bro, this is not the NBA.
I mean, yeah, but it's a similar concept though.
I mean, true, because right now drafting is all about getting to know the people that you met during your scouting season. So, sticking with the NBA analogy, um, when it's time for the drafts, like all the players are kind of like waiting around after being scouted by the coaches. Like the coaches came to their games or blah blah whatever. Now it's time to see, if they're actually interested. So they're waiting around for that call, that text, that notification that basically said, they made it and they about to start preparing to potentially be on this team. So when you were out there scouting and talking to people and all that stuff, you probably pulled some phone numbers or whatever. Now you actually got to text these people. Now you actually got to communicate with them. Like you can't just leave it at that. There's a next step. And that's what the drafting season is all about. It's about following up with all of those people who you met during scouting and seeing if they are eligible men and women to go on dates with.
Okay. All right. Break it down a little bit further.
I mean, if we want to take it a little biblically, we can talk about Esther a little bit. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
Okay? Cuz when before Esther did her thing saving the Hebrews from destruction or whatever, there was a time when she was just a random Jew woman in when the Hebrews were in captivity. And the king of Persia put aside his wife and was searching for a new one. And through his servants and whatever, they picked out a whole bunch of people who they thought would fit the qualities that their king would like. And the king had to choose amongst those women. And ultimately, he ended up choosing Esther after, they each, showed off what made them special. And out of all those people, Esther was the choice. And we know the rest of the story. So
Okay, so bringing it back to the sports analogy. So when it comes to drafting in sports, the coaching staff, they look at the players' stats, how they perform during their time in high school, college, how they perform during pre-workout, their agility test or whatever to see what they would be like on the team. How would we apply that to dating?
Well, let's go back to the Esther situation real quick because we got to connect all three of these things together because we got Esther, we got the NBA or the NFL or sports in general, and then we got Christian dating. So this whole situation with Esther, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going to use the VeggieTales version to explain this because it just makes so much more sense to
Y'all
me.
sickening. I hate this.
But if you watch the VeggieTales edition of Esther, right, the king did his little talent show or whatever in order to pick, who he wanted. So like John said, his people kind of had an idea of what the king would like, and it's nice to know that you got good friends out there to help you out in this situation. So that's definitely an addition to this whole thing. So he sent his little friends out there and be like, hey, look, I like this, this, and this, bring me back some possibilities. So kind of similar to and sports scouting, you might not just get scouted by the one coach. You might get scouted by multiple people on that team. They might send the assistant coach or whoever. Like, it might be more than just the head coach. So they're out there watching you and whatever, and they might come back with some notes like, okay, this person has this person has this person has this. That's the whole drafting situation. So now you're like, well, the scouting situation. So now you're like, okay, after you saw, out of like, say the 50 people that you saw, you like these 10. So now the king in the story of Esther had these 10 people that he's like, okay, like, I could probably draw from. So this is when they actually meet. And then, like I said, with the VeggieTales version, the king had a little talent show. So after he did his scouting, now we're at the drafts. Okay, so he's like, okay, these 10 are cool. I'm going to get to know them. Now it's time for the tryouts. Let's do this talent show. This is when, during this tryout season, I'm about to narrow it down. And this could go one or two ways for a lot of people. You can either narrow it down like he did to one, because he picked Esther, or you can kind of like trickle it out. Like, okay, there might be 2 or 3 that I'm kind of still into, kind of, sort of. I might need some more time to figure it out. So this whole drafting, tryouts, preseason is like it's a circle effect, because you might skip steps, you might go through all 3, but sometimes you might have to go back, because if you don't find that person, you might have to start this process all over again. So anyway, back to the story of Esther, the VeggieTales version of the story of Esther. The king had these tryouts, or this talent show, and through that, he like picked and chose. He had his thumbs up, thumbs down for the people he liked, people he didn't like. So he was going through all that till he got to Esther. Esther sang beautifully, and he was like, yeah, that's it, that's the one. Similarly, like I said, to like sports, they have to like run through the stats. They have to know what good qualities these people have to be on the team. Like, are they strong? Can they run fast? Depending on whatever team or what position, do you know how to block? Do you know how to shoot? Do you know, like, where are your skills? Where are your talents? What areas do you excel in? But you also have to know weaknesses as well. Okay, this person might excel in running, but they might be bad at blocking, or they might excel in throwing, but they're bad at kicking. Like, this is when you find all of that stuff out. So then eventually you're like, okay, is this person going to fit? Can I accept them with the good and the bad? And that's where we get to like this preseason / cuffing season / it can be a very quick process. So it kind of flows very smoothly. But yeah, that's my little explanation to how to connect all those things together.
Okay, you say you said something about knowing ahead of time. What are good qualities? How do we figure that out? Like, what are some good first date questions to ask to figure out those qualities?
Well, before you go on a date, you have to know what you're looking for. So like, let's start there. What are good qualities? Like, because again, we went from scouting to drafting. So now we're at this point where we're like, okay, like I said, you pulled a couple of numbers. You're like, now I have to try these people out. Now I have to go on a date with them. So when you go on that date, what is it that, as you're talking to that person, you're like, okay, this is good for me, or this is bad for me? So like, for you guys, like, if you were to go on a date with somebody and you're having a conversation, because you have to know this before you even go on the date. You have to know what is going to be like, oh no, I'm not accepting that, or yeah, I can kind of I can kind of accept this, but this may be like a, one of the seesaw moments, or this is a good quality. I'm running with this. Like, what does that look like for y'all?
I guess I can start. Well, for me, first and foremost, I gotta know that we believe the same thing, or if not, at least something similar enough that we find common ground. Because ultimately, if I want somebody who's gonna be a partner to me for the rest of my life, because ideally that's what you want when you start dating, I suppose. I want to know that we're saying the same thing, because if not, then what are we even doing here? So I think that right there is the biggest thing. Like, what do you believe? How do you see the world? What what do you want out of life? Those are like big things that I feel like I need to know, which I guess are kind of heavy questions to ask on a first date, but also I feel like that's kind of important if you want there to be a second, third, fourth, fifth date. So that's me.
I
So
kind
that's
of
like the only, I'm sorry, that's like the only thing that matters. As long as you guys are like speaking the same thing, y'all believe in Jesus Christ, Him crucified, all that. That's it. Like, there's nothing else that's kind of like.
No, I was saying that's the big ones. Like, I mean,
But that's what I'm asking. Like, give me some more. Like, what are some things that's gonna make you stay,
you gotta
or
have
what's gonna make you trying to
personality.
like jump
I
out the
guess.
window in the bathroom?
You gotta have personality. You gotta
Okay,
make you
but I
laugh.
feel like a lot of things would be observations more than questions. Um, like for example, if say it's a restaurant date, and how they treat the wait staff, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like how
Yeah,
how respectful they are of other people and their time and their effort into doing things. You know,
how they treat others in general.
yeah, because like sometimes you'll go out with somebody, and all they can do is talk about somebody else, or all they can do is you know start mess. And you don't want to be around somebody like that. um I guess we could talk about, like I said, things you want out of life, like your ambitions, your goals in life, things you would like to do but maybe haven't been able to do just yet, things of that nature, like future things, and also what you like to do right now. Like, what are your hobbies? What are,
What do you like to do in your leisure time? What you like to do
yeah,
for fun?
yeah, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just
Okay.
conversation in general.
Okay. So like going into it, you're kind of like, okay, these are some good things that I'm looking for in this person that I'm about to sit down on this date with. I'm looking to see, like, are they going to meet kind of these expectations, or these are my stats, and I have to, or this is, yeah, the ideal player that I want to put on the team. These are the stats that I'm looking for. So now you take the step further. You're on the date. First of all, let's talk about what are some good dates to even have? What's appropriate? What's not appropriate? Like, where are we taking these people?
I
And then
mean,
I guess,
the basic dinner in the movie could be a good one. Uh, Brunch, lunch, somewhere
mhm.
public around a lot of people.
Okay,
If you don't want to give the wrong idea,
And you also never know if somebody's crazy.
that too.
correct. So definitely public, definitely um a place that like a place that you've been to before. I would definitely recommend that on the first date. Because one, you want to be comfortable. Um, and two, you also want to like be familiar with the surroundings, because again, if something goes to the left, you gotta know where the exits are. You
If
might
it's
be
safe
friendly with
live,
the waiter or the waitress and be like, hey, if I give you a signal, I need you to help me. I would definitely say, at least for date number one, be in some place that you know. so that way you can feel a little safe and secure.
Right.
Um,
Um.
go ahead.
Oh, I didn't have anything. I was just go ahead.
Oh, um, yeah. So like I said, so now we're in the process of, you text these people and you're like, okay, because this again goes back to applying to girls and guys. Because I'm the type of person, I'm like, I'm probably not going to ask anybody out on the first date. That's definitely not my cup of tea. So for me being in this season of like drafting and tryouts, I'm the one that's going to wait for that kind of call notification. But in the process, I'm probably going to, open the lines of communication. I might be like, hey, how's it going? This is such and such. I got your number, and kind of like start that initial conversation. Definitely on a platonic, very friendly level. Nothing too like out there flirtatious. This is just like talking to a friend, because they are your friend at this point, or you're trying to get them to be your friend. Um, so keep it very, very simple, I would say, as far as like that conversation is concerned. Um, but but in the process, my thought is eventually they would want to continue this conversation in person so we can get to the date. Like what about you? Like how would you go through that process of going from I got the number to let's go on a date?
I mean, I imagine it'd be, just over the course of conversation, like if you're getting to the point where, because obviously there was something that drove you to get that person's number. Like
Yeah.
clearly you wanted to talk to them outside of whatever situation that you met the person in. So if conversation leads to a point where, you know, hey, I'd like to get to know this person even better
Mm-hmm.
and in person, they'll be like, hey, I'm liking where these conversations are going. Would you like to go out sometime? Just real simple like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Is there a wrong way to ask somebody out?
I imagine so. I don't think, like, obviously you can't just drag somebody out and be like, oh, we're on a date now.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, definitely I feel like the most important thing is being honest with your intentions.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I guess what I'm asking is like I feel like that should be like clear, from the get-go, because we're in this whole thing, we're trying to avoid these like so-called talking stages and situationships. Like we don't want that. We're trying
right,
to be intentional, because I think talking stage is so confusing to me. Like everybody's talking, like I'm confused. What is a talking stage? Um, we're trying to avoid that because that doesn't make any sense. You either want this to go somewhere or you don't. Just be completely honest. And if you don't want it to go anywhere, you are not the person for me.
right.
Um, but so in that I'm saying, for me, because I'm not going to ask the person out, if I'm having a conversation and this person's like, okay, let's hang out, is my next step to be like, is this a date? Like, should I
Uh,
make that clear prior to?
If this is somebody you feel like you want to date, then yes, make
I
it
mean, I don't
intentional.
necessarily know that yet, but I'm saying like,
Okay, well, no, just two people hanging out. Unless he or she makes it known that it's a date, then don't go into anything expecting anything.
right. But I guess what my question is that me setting myself up? You know what I mean? Like again, if we're talking about, is it too much to say if we're dating with intention? Is it too much to call it a date? Is that like scaring people off? Because like for me, a hangout is like there's no clear cut. Do you kind of get what I'm trying to ask here?
I
so
think
like, do you want to firmly be like, I'm asking you out on a date?
Yeah. Because
that's
I
basically
think
what, my bad. That's basically what I was saying. Like, make the intentions known. If it's a date, it's a
Right.
date.
Like if you
no,
want to ask
no,
somebody on a date, then ask somebody on a date. Like,
right,
don't.
but that's what I'm saying. But what I'm asking is like, should I avoid, or I'm speaking for anybody, should you avoid saying answering somebody and saying, "Oh, I just want to hang out." Like, does that make their intentions clear that they might not want something further?
Mm,
I feel
not
like if somebody responds like
necessarily.
that, they might not be at the same place you are, because maybe
Okay.
maybe like you want to date somebody and
Mhm.
you're sure that you want to date somebody, but
Mhm.
maybe they're not quite sure, so they're like, to kind of ease the pressure on themselves
Mhm.
and you, theoretically they'll be like, let's just make it a hangout,
Mhm.
you know. So there's not that like pressure of, okay, this is absolutely a romantic situation, so certain expectations, which obviously don't have to be there if there's a date, but like I feel like it's common knowledge that certain things, the word date brings certain connotations and expectations that
True.
a hangout may not necessarily imply.
That is true.
So
But some
So,
people use terminology different. Some people, I don't know how to explain it, but there's some people who assume that hanging out is a date. If y'all get what I'm trying to say, they don't necessarily say, "Hey, let's go on a date. Hey, let's hang out," and that
mhm.
could mean a date to them.
Yeah. So I guess it would be, I guess the more you learn that person, the more you would know whether or not this person is actually trying to date me, or they're just trying to hang out and kind of like do that little
Or
situationship thing.
mhm.
yeah, I think it just depends on the person.
Okay. All right. So we went from scouting to like texting. Oh, because Brandy, you didn't answer the question. So, because you mentioned before that you would be okay with asking somebody else. So, what would be your approach? You got this guy's number. Now you guys are texting and talking. How would you approach asking them out?
I mean, I'm not shy at all. Like if I like something, I'll make it known. So I'll just come straight up, like I want to go on a date. Can let's go do something.
Okay, so you would actually use the word date?
I think it depends. Like if
On.
I like the thing that I want to do, like if I want to go to Top Golf or something, or want to go laser tagging, let's go hang out. Let's go do something fun. But like if I want to like have like laid back chill, like a dinner or something, like a little like let's go. What if I think it's going to date? I don't know. I don't know. This is just me though. I don't know.
Okay, so you're saying depending on what you actually do will determine the word that you use?
Pretty much. But it's all the
Okay.
same thing to be honest.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we scouted, we got the number, we're talking, we're texting, we made a hangout slash date depending on the circumstances. So and then we know what we're looking for because obviously, like, we thought about this and we're like, I want a God-fearing man who makes six figures or whatever your list is. Now we're on the date.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about conduct. Let's talk about conduct first. What, when you're on the date, because you're now, this person is now on trial, I would say. This is the time when you're sitting here trying to decide, does this person deserve the rest of my night or afternoon or whatever? Um, or am I never gonna see this person again? So let's talk about the approach. Now, is this person picking you up? Are you meeting them at a location? What's the advice here?
First, and I feel like most important thing is the comfortability of both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So like some people, some women and some people in general are not comfortable with being picked up by somebody else. They would rather get to where they're going on their own
Correct.
because they
Especially if
feel more
they're,
comfortable,
I'm sorry,
you know.
especially if they're just meeting the
Yeah.
Right.
person or haven't known them that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that depends on again, that's all in getting to know the person. Like if you know, if you've gotten to that stage to know that this is the type of person who would prefer to meet somewhere separately, then you do that. If this is the type of person who doesn't mind being picked up, you do that. But it's all about ensuring that everybody's comfortable, so that way you can start off on a good note.
Right. Okay. So then attire for you and your date. Like if they showed up in sweatpants and a t-shirt and y'all going to dinner.
I was about to say, are we at the gym?
Yeah, I'm just asking. Like, I guess it would depend on where we're going, but
Yeah, I
like,
was just about to say that.
what would be acceptable for? I guess okay. Say we're okay. Let's talk about the typical dinner in a movie. How would you want them to come?
I mean,
And
I'm all about comfortability, like just
Mhm.
just comfortably or whatever. But at the same time, if we're going to a dinner in the movie, I would at least expect like jeans and a t-shirt. Don't come in like no slides or sweatpants and a
Lines
white
with
tee.
socks,
Yeah,
old
like
socks that you've been wearing for 3 weeks.
right. Like
Right.
at least put on something decent
Clean
too.
up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make sure, brothers, make sure you get your hygiene together.
Facts.
Like fix your hair up,
Ladies too. Ladies too.
get your nails, clean your nails. Make sure you wash your hands.
Cause
Mm-hmm.
I've seen
Don't
some
just
stuff
don't
at
just
these movies.
don't just go all day like you just spent the entire day out, and then you just
Shooting hoops and
throw on
just
some
say, hey.
clothes, spray what's I don't e, it's not even Axe no more, but whatever, spray it over and hope it hides the stink, and then go out on a
Exactly.
date. Like
Right.
That would
Because
make me
we're here
mad.
talking about dating with intention. So think about this as an
like
interview.
this is an interview, bro.
You're putting your best foot forward. So if you're also within the same mindset, because again, we're not talking about these what everybody else in society is doing in these lax relationships that everybody's trying to have. We're talking about purpose dating. We're talking about intention dating. So this is different than just these little hangouts with these fly by nights. I'm gonna keep using that word. That people out here doing. So again, if you have that same mindset, you have to, like you said, present yourself as if, because you wouldn't go, you about to meet with the CEO of Google, you're not going in those slides in a t-shirt. You
That shit
about to
from over
pull
here
out
by
your best
Literally
suit.
Right.
So if you're really trying to impress this girl or you're really trying to impress this man, you would want to make sure that you're presented in a way that makes them see, okay, this girl got a good head on their shoulders. This guy has a good head on their shoulders. I can see good qualities in them. I can see God in them. I can see, you know what I mean? Like I can see somebody who is also kingdom minded like I am, that is also under the same, potentially could have the same values and morals that I have, because they're presenting themselves in a way that I can see this ain't just somebody who's trying to get me in the sack. All that
Well,
can come off before you even say one word,
well,
because it's all about how you carry yourself.
I agree. I agree. But then again,
Yeah.
it also depends on the situation. Like, if you're going to Top Golf, like if you've been to Top Golf, you're outside. So if you're
Yeah,
going to Top Golf in the middle of the summer, I don't expect you to be all suited and booted. Dress comfortably. If you want to wear some shorts,
right.
wear some shorts. Because I don't like to be hot. That'll make me upset, irritated. So I'm gonna dress for the occasion, basically.
Agreed. Dress for the occasion, but don't just pull something out your laundry bag, is what I'm saying.
Facts.
You know, be intentional with the shorts that you
Now,
about to
now
put
I'm not
on.
saying when no Daisy Dukes or some nickel bottoms that show
I
the
mean,
bottom
I've
of your
heard
butt
that
cheeks
in
and
my
stuff.
life. What is a nickel bottom?
That's a country slang. Oh my god, y'all not country. Y'all not country. But yeah, I'm not saying in a tank top that show half your breast. I'm not saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Yeah, you can be comfortable and cute modest and cute, covered and cute, whatever you want to call it. You can look good without pulling something from the bottom of the barrel.
Because not only are you grabbing the attention of the person you're with, you're grabbing the attention from other people too, and that's not
Correct. Correct. That is very, very true.
you
Okay.
want to grab the wrong type of attention, but
Right. And then you also don't want to portray, grabbing the wrong type of attention. You also don't want to portray that to the person that is actually with you, because you got all these outside looking. And also people notice that. So like if I'm on a date with you and you're wearing something that's like attention grabbing, I'm going to notice the fact that everybody else's eyes are on you. They see that, so for women, for men, if men are looking at me and I got the skimpiest outfit on, they're going to see that everybody else in the room is also looking at me. And then you don't know what's going on in that other person's head too. So now they're potentially drawing conclusions on, is this person trying to grab my attention or everybody's attention? And you don't want to give that message across at all, because again, we're dating with intention, dating with purpose. If I'm here and I'm with you, I'm expecting that I'm giving you a certain level of attention and you're also giving me a certain level of attention, so I'm not expecting you giving me and the entire room the attention as well.
I agree.
Some of that can be unavoidable now because some people are really good looking. And it's not like you're intending to do it, but again, it's how you present yourself. If it's unavoidable, I'm not saying that, because people are going to look regardless. But if, again, controlling the narrative, make sure. And even if people are staring, you also don't want to unintentionally feed into it, because sometimes people do that. Like they'll notice everybody's staring, so they start to like do things without even realizing that they're grasping the attention of everybody around them. So that's also another thing to be mindful of, especially for like the people who can't really avoid people looking. I would say just make sure that the person that you're on a date with knows that you have their undivided attention regardless of what's going on in your surroundings.
Agreed. So when it comes to these kind of dates, are we asking like the deep questions? Are we going to scratch the surface and then get deeper as time progresses?
I feel like because like it depends on where I guess what stage the situation is, because like
this is first date.
Well, my question is, would you ask about salary on the first date?
No.
Yeah, we talking straight up first date. This is where we're at right now, because that's drafting season.
First date.
Yeah,
but it's a potential date though.
I don't know you like that to be asking your salary. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a good point. It depends on the person. And I think this depends on the conversations you may or may not have had prior to that first initial date.
Yeah.
Only because, again, this goes back to not portraying something that you don't want to be. You don't want them to think that money is important to you, So you have to, if you are going to ask, you got to be careful how you ask. Like how, because you're saying, should you ask? How would you ask them?
I don't know. I was asking y'all. Because I wouldn't ask that. I really wouldn't ask you, but I was curious to see how other people think.
Okay, so if that were to come up, because they do talk about, there are taboo things that you shouldn't talk about, politics, religion, that kind of thing. So if we are on the first date, because a lot of times you ask the very basic questions like, what do you do? So if somebody says, okay, well, I am, a financial advisor.
I asked, like, because I said that's kind of why I asked that, because people be like, okay, so what do you do for a living? Where do you work? What do you do for work or whatever? And if somebody come out, oh, I'm a CEO of a this type of company. Okay, so do you ask how much they make? Like, if you're curious about that type of business, like, do you ask or do you just like, oh, okay, you just got a good job, you make a lot of money, and yeah,
Here's
I
Well,
my
don't
no.
know.
go
So
around.
if it's relevant to you to ask, like, say if that, like you said, it's a field you wanted to enter, then you're like,
Okay,
oh, okay, then this is more information for me. But on
okay,
a first
yeah.
date, straight up asking salary, I feel like that's crazy.
You can also use that as an excuse. Like you
Oh,
really don't want
I
to enter
want to
that
do
field,
that. So
but that's
how
your
much you trying
end.
to make?
Yeah. Just ask in general. Or your second option is just remember what they say
And go
and then kind
Google
of
it.
look up like the standard salary when you get home.
And go
Like, what's
Google
the
it.
average salary for a financial advisor? Like, and then you kind of have like a ballpark of what this person makes.
So okay, you figure out what this person makes. What does that change? What does that do? Like,
I
does
don't
that
know. You ask
matter?
the question.
I'm asking, like, does that matter?
To some people, it
To
does
some.
straight up like that.
But in this series, what we're talking about, it should not matter on the first date.
That's very true. I was just curious.
Yeah. If that's what
Okay.
you want to do outside of this, we're trying to build kingdom relationships.
All
Outside
right.
of this, if you want to do that, more power to you. But for us, we're trying to get to know the person, not their materials, because their
Back to the
materials can come and
kingdom.
go. They can lose their job that same night. Will you still want to pursue this relationship if they lose their job?
Ooh.
That's what matters in these kingdom relationships. Because again, we trying to get to marriage, and the vows say, "For
For
better,
better
for
or
worse, for richer,
worse.
for poorer." You trying to be with me for richer or poor? Like
So for these kingdom relationships, are you asking about their religion on the first day? Like, are you asking if they believe in
one
Jesus? What their
hundred
relationship is like?
percent.
So
I
you asking that straight out the gate on the first date.
do you believe in Jesus?
So you think that should be like one of the first questions you ask on the first date?
It might not be the first question that
But
I ask,
not the first question, but like, is that something you want to know on the first date?
but I'm gonna be honest. I say that I tell them about me because normally, like I said, when you're on a date with somebody, they ask you, okay, so like kind of like an interview. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I tell them I'm a pastor's kid. So you take that how you want to take it. I'm gonna let you know straight up. I am a pastor's kid. So that means clearly I have a church background.
I always tell people, I'm a church girl. That's the first thing I say. I'm a church girl.
Right.
I'm in
Who goes
church
to
all the
church
time.
and reads her Bible?
So
Right.
yeah,
So I that's me though. And again, going back to again, we're building these kingdom relationships. So it really, if you want to say that, it depends on your relationship with God because some people that might not be something that they put at the forefront, but I'm saying if you're really truly looking for a godly
oh,
man, a godly woman, I would say let that be known because if somebody is not willing to or is not even remotely interested or you know what I mean, it's going to create problems in the future. So I would say if you're really trying to date with purpose, date with intention, I think that's something that you should know like straight out the gate.
so is that a deal breaker if they don't have a relationship or if they don't make it a priority? Is that a deal breaker?
For me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if I don't know if I should ask this question. I don't know if
Go ahead.
it's relatable. Well, say, so what if they're not, and this is the potential person you can lead to Christ?
Okay.
Mm.
I would say this. Every opportunity you talk to another person is an opportunity for you to bring them to God. So
Mm.
if that is a lane, like we may not date, but you know, go ahead and we can be friends and I'm a, give you the scripture, give you the word, and maybe, you can come to my church or some church, go get your truth and get saved. That is 100% an option. But I feel like if we're entering into this season of scouting, drafting, tryouts, cuffing, playoffs, all of these things, again, you're going in with a specific goal in mind. I mean, is this person gonna like throw you off that track? Because now you got this person who doesn't have a relationship with God. Is that delaying your process? Is that throwing you off
Mm.
course? Like, I
feel
feel
like
like
that's your
you
assignment.
have to consider. I feel like you have to know that this might be your person. I don't know. This goes back to your relationship with God, because obviously you're consulting God through this whole entire thing. So if you go on this date and this person is like, I don't really have a relationship with Jesus, and then you go to God and like, God, I 100% enjoyed this date. This person matches a lot of the things that I feel like I need and want out of life, but they don't have a relationship with you. What do I do? Take that to God, I feel like, and let God kind of guide your next steps, because it will be bad if you invest your time and energy into something and it goes to the left. You know what I mean? Based on what because I feel like a lot of times in relationships, people move through these steps way too quickly. That's why we wanted to do these series, to break this stuff down for people to understand there are stages, there are things that you have to go through. Like, you really have to take the time to know somebody without sleeping around. We're going to get to that part in a second. But you have to just know if this person is even worth your time. So if after that first date, that second date, you're kind of like, okay, I'm liking this person a little bit more and a little bit more, and they might have that one thing that you're like, and that could be, again, your relationship with God. Talk to God about that and let God lead you, and trust that God is going to handle the situation the way it's meant to be. But make sure that God is actually talking to you, because that happens a lot. Sometimes, your flesh gets in the way, and you're like, that girl on TikTok, I'm gonna see for myself.
Joe, I love her. I love her.
Yeah, but for real, her TikTok's not related, because God is straight up telling you, like, leave this dude alone. And you're like, but this. And then God's like, nah. And then she's like, I'm gonna see for myself. Like, what
I
you
feel
want me
like
to do?
I'll be putting my guardian angel through it.
Exactly.
I feel like I'll be
We
putting
really
her
be
through
putting the
it.
Lord through it. We really do.
Right. So I think that would be my answer to that situation. I would personally say, and again, God knows us, like, we are his kids, so he knows what we can deal with, not what we want to deal with, what we can deal with.
Ooh,
So
that's
for
good.
me,
That's
I
good.
would say I would not want that personally. If I'm dating, I don't think I would want that, because I'm going in with a specific intention, and I would want that person has the same basic foundation that I have. It doesn't necessarily mean that their relationship with God is like more stronger than mine, or mine is stronger than theirs, but I would at least want them to have a solid foundation in God, because at the end of the day, like, this is supposed to be my leader. So I can't be leading him, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Mm.
That's a whole other topic, but yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's good.
So, what are some red flags?
That
What should you be looking for on these first dates? Because
red
a
flag.
lot of the times, bro, I'm gonna keep it real. We've been missing the flags. The flags are right in our face, and we ignore them.
So I heard it was this video that I watched where, like, it was saying, like, if you're looking at a flag, right? If you're looking at a flag from the side, you can see the entire flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the flagpole, like, if you hold up both of your hands, right? The flagpole is your left hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the flag is kind of portraying out of your left hand, right? That's how
Mm-hmm.
you see a flag from its side,
Right.
right? So if the flag is in front of you, you're looking at the flag from the flagpole out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't see the contents of that flag anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So for people who are in the relationship, in the situation, The flag is in front of me. So I can't see what's on that flag. But who can see it? The people in my circle. Because they're standing on the side of me and behind me and in front of me and all around. So they're seeing things that I can't see on that flag. So
Ooh.
if we're thinking the American flag, they can see the stars, the stripes, all that. I might be able to see like the colors because we have peripheral vision, but I can't see every single thing that's on that flag. So that's the reason why we miss a lot of red flags, because we're looking at the flag head on.
Okay.
See anything that's happening. We don't even know the flag is red half the time. We just
So,
know a flag is there.
so conversation wise, I feel like I feel like there's some red flags based off conversation or how they respond to some of your questions, if that
Absolutely.
makes sense. So we're gonna say conversation wise, what would be some red flags?
The way you text.
Explain.
I'm
You text how you
sorry.
talk.
Dude, nah, I'm just calm
Okay.
down. Well, yeah, I text how I talk. I speak
No. I was saying like, was that
eloquently.
a red flag? People texting how
It
they
might
talk.
not be a red flag, but it's 100% gonna get under my skin. I'm not gonna lie, and maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know, but I cannot. If I'm saying your as in YOU apostrophe RE, and you are saying YOUR, please get to step in. Like I just need to know that you have a basic.
Grasp of the English language.
I was just about to
Yes,
say, so all the grammar,
yeah. Like
you
I
get
just
correct grammar.
please, because I just need to know that you know how to speak. Spelling words wrong. We have autocorrect on our phones. If you see the little red line, fix it. Sorry. Don't just
Okay,
send the text.
all right. So we're gonna say face to face conversation. Besides texting, what are some conversation red flags?
Mm,
Do you have any? Do you know of any?
Being too eager to talk over me.
yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
like that's not just a relationship red flag, but I feel like that's a red flag in general for like any sort of situation, like
Mhm.
friendships, anything like that. Because like if they're not willing to let you get a word in edgewise, that says one of two things. One, that they feel like their opinion is the only one that matters, and
Mm.
two, that they're closed minded because they don't want to hear
Mm.
anything else.
That's the red flag.
Judgmental.
My dad always said an empty head carries a long tongue. So the more that they speak, the less that's going on up here. Because they're trying to overcompensate for the fact that they don't know. So they feel if they talk a lot.
That sounds smart.
You won't know that they
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's definitely one. Honestly, it I feel like I'm being real picky, y'all. And I told
Hey,
this
for
is why
sure
I told
seems
God I
like
threw out my list because this is ridiculous. It's the way that you speak.
Explain.
It's not necessarily an accent because I can respect somebody with an accent, but uh, like okay, uh, the way people say orange.
now. Hey, I feel like you talk about my New Orleans folks. They can't help it, okay?
It's not just y'all. It's people from Baltimore too. It's not just y'all. I promise you that.
Because New Orleans
It's
folks say
certain words,
orange.
huh?
Because New Orleans folks say
Nah,
orange.
We
because they
don't do
say
that.
orange
Don't do.
and Earl
Don't.
and stuff like that.
Earl, cooking
Stop.
Earl.
Stop. Oh my God. Pronounce the letters. It's orange. Please.
Orange.
Like that. I'm sorry. I try so, and again, like I said, this is why I threw my
They
list
can't
out
help it.
much.
That's just
I
how their
know.
accent is.
I know, and that's why for me, you get a grace because I understand it's the accent, but it's just certain things that just make you sound more uneducated. And orange is not the one. I'm trying to think of what it is, Because there are some words that I'm really looking at you sideways that I'm like, ugh, don't say, what's that word? Irregardless. Jesus.
Who? Who?
We not irregardless is not a word.
Who?
Exactly. Don't worry about it. People say it.
Who
People
says
say it.
that?
A lot of people.
Irregardless.
So fun
Yes.
fact, it actually is a word
What? Since
Yeah.
when?
since always. So it's a nonsense word, but like apparently it's so irregardless and regardless mean the same thing. It's a weird quirk of the English language.
Oh my God. This is the problem with the English language. But okay. Like I said, if you have an accent, I can 100% understand and I will give you some grace on that. But there are certain things, and when I see it, I'm gonna point it out. I'm gonna post it maybe in the comments or something. Because again, there are certain ways that people say certain things, and it just like no, just no. It's not a red flag though, but it's definitely like it's like one of them seesaw moments. Like I might be okay with this, or you might irritate me at some point. That's
Gotcha.
mine. What's y'all's?
Oh, oh wow. We're talking
I don't know, cause
conversation.
I get irritated quick, and once I get irritated, I cut you off. That might not be a good thing,
We're
but
still talking conversation red flags or just in general?
Yeah, conversation red flags because we're still again we haven't moved past like date number one.
talking a lot about nothing, that would irritate me.
Okay, like give
Not
like
having a
a
point.
slight example.
What is a good? I don't know. See, I hate being put on the spot like this because I have this stuff I have to think about.
I was gonna say it's kind of hard to talk about nothing.
So like,
It's,
what are they saying?
it's
Like,
not hard to talk. They just ramble and rant about irrelevant things,
okay,
and that'll kind of irritate me after a while. I wouldn't say it's a red flag, but it's more like an irritation.
okay,
And in my head, I'd be like, yeah, you ain't never got to worry about me again.
okay. So what are some like real red flags when it comes to like what's gonna make you say, hey, this is great, but I'm never gonna see you again?
We're having a conversation about a certain topic and our beliefs on a certain topic, and we may have different beliefs on this certain topic, and they get upset with me because I have this particular belief and wanna kind of like judge me or down me because I believe differently than what they believe, if that makes sense.
So
Well, that
going
makes
back kind of to
perfect
like the
sense.
closed-minded thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. I agree.
Okay.
Or also like just belittling the things I like to do
That too.
Okay.
because I'm gonna be honest, I'm still somewhat of a kid at heart, so I like
Oh
to
yes, of course. I'm a big
I
kid
like
at
to
heart.
like I'm gonna be on my PlayStation, I'm gonna play card games, whatever. So if that's an issue for you, like if you're like, oh, that's kid stuff, okay, well I'll kid stuff somewhere else, and you can
True.
find someone who's not into kid stuff.
Okay.
Or someone who uses Christianity as a reason to actually try to get in, get what they want, if that makes sense.
Ooh,
Explain a little bit.
I don't want to like take it there because I want to keep it PG. But there are some
Oh, take
people,
it there. What?
there are some people who would put on a persona that they're Christian or that they're saved or whatever, but then use that as a way to get in the bed with that person, with the person that they're trying to pursue. If that makes sense, I've seen that a lot.
How does that add up?
Don't know, but I've seen it. Like I've actually seen this post on Facebook. It was a whole conversation, he was, oh, I'm saved, I'm this, I love the Lord, I go to church every Sunday, I do this, and that. But then within that same conversation, he turned it sexual.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I mean, using your Christianity to like manipulate that person into giving in or doing, or it's like get what they want from you, if that makes sense.
So basically, tempting someone to do the wrong, or manipulating
Something like
someone
that.
into.
You a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's the
much,
one.
pretty much. They're basically using that against you. I don't know how to word that, but I hope y'all get what I'm trying to say.
I do. It's
Yeah,
the wolf in sheep's
And I
clothing.
feel like that doesn't even necessarily apply to your faith. That could be anything.
Yeah.
Like just, oh,
yeah,
I like
that's
that
true.
too. And, you know.
Yeah,
What about the way that they eat?
I hate people who chew with their mouth open. I hate people who smack.
I'm just trying to think of things that will come up on a first date.
Cause
Like,
that's a red flag for me.
okay.
It might not be a red flag for the next person, but that's a red flag for me. Like,
Okay. Okay. Um,
Yeah, because I feel
what
like
about
some people overdo that. Like,
they do.
true? What about okay, because we're going back to like dinner and a movie. What about tipping? If they don't tip, is that a red flag for you? Or is that like
yeah,
a question mark for you, not necessarily a red flag?
it's
I
a
would say that's a
it's
question
definitely a
mark.
question mark. Because like,
Okay.
why aren't you tipping?
Because I do try my best to tip. It may not be a lot all the time, but I do at least try to tip my server. I put the money in my server's hand before I leave the restaurant.
Okay. What about the food that they order?
That doesn't matter because people are picky eaters. They don't eat a lot of.
Right. That's not my
It
business what
doesn't
you
it
eat.
doesn't matter.
What if they're like overly picky?
Now overly picky, that's I wouldn't say that's a red flag, but that'll irritate my soul. Like, bro, you chose to come here or you agreed to come here. Why are you being picky? You should have
Yeah.
researched the menu before we got here.
Like, what if they're like, my food can't touch and I'm
Oh
ordering
baby,
mashed potatoes, but the sauce has to be on the side, or
you ain't gotta worry about it no more.
my plate
A
needs
lot
to
of
be
people are like
color
that, so
coordinated.
I'm not judging that. For me, it'd be more so like it'd be I'd have questions about like, do you have special food considerations? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the reason for certain things?
Mm-hmm.
Because like me, if
Now
it's just you being extra, then okay. Like,
now I know people who have like food allergies. Like they would before, but they would
That's
call the
different.
restaurant before we even go. Like I know my old pastor, she could not eat food cooked in peanut oil. So she would call, like we would give her like recommendations of like if she okay, so she would take her mentees out to eat sometimes and she
Mhm.
would ask us to give recommendations so we can like make a reservation. So she would actually call each one of like whoever we decided to go with, she would call their restaurant and ask them do they cook their food in peanut oil. Now that I get because
Yeah,
that's a
that's
healthy thing.
different. That's a life and death sometimes
Right.
situation.
So like with stuff like that, like if you have like a peanut allergy or
Hmm.
any other type of food allergy and you're picky about that, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you having a reaction on me because I'm not gonna know what to do. So
better hope they got an
so
EpiPen.
yeah. So like when it comes to that, I don't mind that. But if you're just being extra picky for no reason or
Hmm.
just to give the server a hard time, that's really gonna irritate my soul.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm trying to think like what other things could potentially come up on a first date that you're kind of like. But I think we talked about some good
Yeah, I was
ones.
gonna say
So
because we talked hygiene, we talked conversation,
yeah.
we talked like potential roadblocks.
Hmm.
So hopefully all goes well at least on the first date. So you
Yeah.
have a second and
So,
third date.
question.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, if you don't see a second or third date in the near future, and you actually don't see yourself talking to that person ever again, do you ghost them Or
Do
do you
not,
or do you send a
do,
message
do not.
politely?
We don't do
Hold
that.
on, hold on. Do you ghost them or do you politely send a message be like, hey, I enjoyed the first date, but I don't see any more dates in our future, so we could either stay friends or we could just like, no, this is
For the
ourselves from each
love
other.
of all that is holy and heaven sent, do not ghost nobody.
Have y'all ghosted someone before?
Absolutely. Do not, do not do it. Okay?
So how are you gonna give advice to not ghost nobody? And you've done
Because
it.
I know that it's wrong. I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I have done it. Yes, I have, and I know how wrong it is, and I'm not gonna do it again. It was
I've done
wrong.
it.
I apologize. Don't know, okay? Because this kind of goes back to, this is a cycle. You know, the whole hurt people hurt people. You ghost somebody, they don't know what they did wrong. They continue to do that thing. They now hurt the next person, and that person carries that to the next person. And no, just be straight up honest and
Okay,
be
now I
as
feel guilty because
respectful.
I've ghosted a couple people.
I know we not doing that. It's 2022. Y'all can have grown adult conversations. Please just tell the person, listen, I appreciate the dinner. I enjoyed the movie, but I don't think that our values correlate with each other. I would appreciate it if you never talk to me again. Like, don't say that. No, but just say something
Now,
along
what?
the lines of, I appreciate you taking the time out to spend with me, but I just don't see this, going any further than the first date. I wish you the best of luck on your journey, but I'm going to continue mine elsewhere.
Okay, with that being said, it's 2022. People ain't got no mind. People are crazy. People
And
don't take rejection well. So what if you do that and then in return they get upset and then they go off on you?
that's
Like
not my problem.
people are
Right.
crazy.
That's a personal
That's not my
problem.
problem. Now, when you feed into that, that's when it becomes your problem. If you said what you said and you were honest with that person, whatever they say after, as far as like getting mad and upset or whatever, if the response ain't nothing but, I understand, I appreciate your time too,
So what if
have
they
a
don't
good
take
one.
no for an answer?
What you mean not taking no for answer? There's a block,
There are people out there that do not take no for an
and
answer.
you are not that, you not even in my circle. You not know. I wouldn't even see them coming into my season, because again, my intention going into this is we have kingdom minded mindsets. Granted, there could be a lot of people who try to skate by, blah blah whatever, and you don't see their true colors yet. That's fine. So if it's one of those situations where you don't see the real them until later, we not entertaining that. Like, what you mean not taking no for an answer? Like, you don't know where I live. You don't know, where I, like, you don't know nothing. So
This is the exact reason why we go in public places when we date people.
exactly. So that goes back to your level of comfortability. If this person picked you up, you should have known them well enough to know that they not gonna do and respond like that. Because this should be somebody that you already are comfortable enough with to even get in a car with them. Because you don't know where they can take you to. So that's the first
Okay.
thing. So always have your escape plan. So if you driving separately because you don't know that person well enough, and then by the end of the date, you're like, okay, well, I've learned a little bit about this person and I don't want this to move forward. And you have that honest conversation and they can't handle it correctly. That is not my problem. You're going to see this block button and you're going to be arguing with yourself.
The message is
People
gonna
see
be
this block button.
green.
I mean, I just, what am I? Because again, when they go off on you and they're like, I don't understand, because there are people that's gonna be, I don't understand, I paid for your food, what you mean you don't want to see me again, you this, you
I
that,
cash up your
you
$20
just wanted
back.
a free meal.
Mm,
What am I saying back to this person that's going to get me any further? It's not going to change the fact that I don't want to see you again.
right.
I cash up your $20 back.
I'm not even doing that. No, I'm not going to do that, because I mean, if it means that much to you, but honestly, look, that's also another thing. And that also depends. If you know before you even leave the table that you're probably not going to see them again, maybe it should be on you to say, you know what, let's split this. So that shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. That could be an option for you. Let's split the bill and not worry about you know, anything
But do
further.
you think people are mature enough to do that these days?
Again, this is completely different. I don't care what you do outside of this kingdom relationship building. I'm speaking to people who are dating with purpose and intention. You are coming in already with the maturity level.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're not going to get to the kingdom relationship. So
Mhm.
you're not even in this conversation. If you still on that type of mindset, you need to go back to episode 11. We passed that. We are mature adults in this. So you need to be able to know how to hold conversations. You need to be able to handle yourself accordingly. You need to know how to present yourself. Like all of this stuff, we're talking about people who are, again, intentional with what they're doing. They're coming into this saying, just the same way you're ready to search and find the one, I am too. So I'm coming into this with the intention of gaining something from this. So I'm not expecting them to have that mindset. Again, people cover up a lot of things, but this is why we're quick to let them go.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But let's put a bow on this situation real quick. So, like we said, we went from scouting, we went from texting, we went from, going to these places, finding these people, giving out our numbers. Now we're in the drafts. Now we are texting those, however many you got, 5, 6 people maybe. You going on like a date here or there. You might go to breakfast with one, coffee with another, blah blah, whatever. And then now, after you spent all that time drafting on those first dates, now you're like, okay, time to narrow it down. And again, you can either narrow it down and say you want to date one person. That's skipping straight to preseason. If you just going to be like, you know what, I'm going to put my focus on this person to see if it goes somewhere, skip straight to preseason. If you still are questioning between like one or two people, now you got your little tryout section. This is where, you might go on date 2, date 3, date 4, and kind of see, okay, let's narrow it out. That's when you probably try to see like those true colors, see them in different settings, all of that. We can dive into that next episode. And then afterwards, you find the one that you're like, okay, this is it. This kind of area within the courtship series is like you can skip around and stuff. So it really just depends on what your experiences are. But again, if you are skipping steps, you have to really, really, really I would say let God lead you when it comes to that, because you don't want to skip steps based on feelings and then it goes to the left.
Facts.
But yeah, that's the little bow on the present for you.
So what you think? You think people gonna be ready for a drafting season after this?
I don't know.
Again, we're speaking to a very specific group of people. So we are hoping. And y'all, if y'all have questions, ask, because we are nowhere near experts.
At all. I think this is just us talking from what we've been through and what we've learned.
Exactly.
So
And
So
are still learning because
honestly.
that too. Because I've been ain't gonna talk about that. Anyway. Anyway.
to cover everything, it gets harder every day. So we got to
Facts.
keep learning. We got to keep navigating this thing we call life and this thing we call dating.
Me and life we be fighting head up.
But I'm gonna need y'all to mature and hurry up, because like I need y'all to be on this season with us.
Yeah, I'm ready to go to some more weddings.
We need some mature people to get these relationships together. So increase y'all maturity levels, folks.
Yeah, because I want to come to some more weddings. I like weddings.
Weddings are fun to go to. This is true.
And I want to be the reason. Hey, I hooked them up. Ooh.
Oh my god. Real talk though, like if y'all really listen to this, like give us a shout out at your wedding. I listened to the Christian Call Center, and that's how I found the one. I would like to.
Hey, matchmakers over here, you know.
They had this courtship series, and it blessed my life.
Took some notes and I found that one.
Facts.
Look at God.
Oh man.
No. But anyway, y'all. That's about that time.
I know when that hotline bling, that can only mean one thing.
Okay, so since we are in this dating section of the courtship, I decided to pull the date night edition of tonight's conversation cards.
Oh Lord.
So these are some stimulating conversation questions to make the date night experience fun.
Listen.
So these are some potential questions that you can ask on your first date. So question 1. If I interviewed your exes, what would they say about you?
You want to take this one, Brady?
Huh?
I would hope to have good things to say. I mean,
Be honest. What would they say about you?
John, you go first. I don't know. I gotta think about them.
Um, I've actually been told to my face what my exes would say about me, and it's sweet and kind of a pushover.
Okay.
I've been told I was crazy, but I don't think so.
Have you been told by multiple people?
No.
Mm.
I just. What's the word I'm looking for? I tend to speak on stuff when I don't feel like if it don't sit right with me, I'm gonna speak on it. So maybe that's where they get the crazy from. I don't know.
Notice how you speak on it.
Mm.
Probably because I do. I be like, so I just find it funny how, yeah, so
Mhm.
probably I can see it. I'm not crazy though. I'm really not. I'm just passionate
Mm.
and I don't like my feelings to be played
That's a
with.
very common correlation.
Hey, don't do that.
I'm
Don't
just
do that.
That's normally people's response. Oh, you're crazy. I'm just passionate. Okay.
I am not crazy. I know some crazy folks and I do not scratch the surface of crazy. I just don't play.
Okay. Next question. Have you ever, ooh, this going to turn me up crazy. Have you ever blown up, called or texted repeatedly without getting a response someone's phone before? If so, what was the reason? What was
No,
the reason?
no, I don't believe in blowing up people's phone. If you don't answer me, you don't answer me. And I'll talk to you when you text me back.
Okay. I was having a conversation with this certain someone.
What was
And
the
a certain
reason?
someone went off on me and then hung up in my face. So I proceeded to call them back because what you're not gonna do is curse me out and not expect a response. So
How many
um
times did you call or text back?
I called 4 times back to back, but after that I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna catch you when I see you. So yeah.
Okay.
But I had good reason. You're not just gonna curse me out like that and then hang up in my face without me getting the last word.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are 3 of your top pet peeves when it comes to the opposite sex.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Oh, I hate a messy guy.
Okay.
Like, um, who just leaves stuff laying around for no reason. Like, that's one. Um, I hate a guy who, I wouldn't say hate, but another pet peeve of mine is a guy who likes to be seen, who basically does stuff for the attention, if that makes sense.
I experienced that.
Number three, one who thinks he knows everything.
Mm, we don't like that.
Like they're always right about everything, and they're never wrong.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Okay.
John, Joe, you gotta answer this one too.
Me? Oh,
Yeah,
Yep,
you.
you do this every episode.
All right,
because
you
I'm
be
a
asking the
question
questions
giver.
and
I
It
don't
yeah,
be.
don't
but you
matter.
gotta
You
answer
can
I
answer
too.
don't. But I
too.
really don't be thinking about answers.
The
I just
people
be like,
want to hear your opinions too.
All right,
what
so
was
you
the
got time to
question?
think.
Wait, hold up.
Your three biggest pet peeves about the opposite sex. So
Oh,
while you thinking
okay.
about it,
Okay.
John, you can go ahead and answer.
Okay.
All right. Trying to tell me how I feel about stuff.
Ooh, that's yeah, I like
Because
that one.
I get it, okay? I am not the most emotionally adjusted individual. I am well aware of that. However, don't tell me how I'm feeling. Okay? I absolutely, absolutely cannot stand being told how I feel. Okay? You might have an opinion about how I feel based on how I'm responding to you, but you don't know how I feel. Like you feel this because you're doing no, no, no. Because then I'm gonna get mad, and then you don't want to see that because then I'm not gonna talk to you because you're telling me how I feel. So don't tell me how I feel. Two, do not, do not try to guilt me into speaking to you. Let me explain. Obviously, we working. You know, we got things to do. I got a life to live. I got bills to pay. If I don't respond to you as soon as you text me, do not take it as I don't want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I'm not talking to you in the moment because I'm in the middle of something that I cannot pick up my phone and talk to you. Like, I get it, you know. If obviously if this is somebody I'm in a relationship with or we're heading in that direction, we want to talk to each other more to get, you know, to get the measure of each other, to get to know each other, to get to, you know, explore those things. However, again, don't be like, oh, well, I guess you don't want to talk to me, bro. Bro, please don't do that. Because if it's one thing, and for me that goes back to again telling me how I feel. Because you're telling me I don't want to talk to you when I those words never came out of my mouth or were never typed in a text message. So don't do that. Um, number three. Um, ooh, 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 this is the one that oh we need to talk like
Facts.
and then don't bring it up all day.
Facts.
Like don't and that's not even an opposite sex thing. That's just anybody. Don't
Facts.
do that to people. Like, if you got something to tell me, then tell me, bro. Like, like I can see if it's playful, like you got a surprise for me or something. That's different. But if this is a serious thing that you feel like we need to talk about, talk to me, because you just got me full of anxiety all day.
Just the phrase itself when we need to talk.
Right.
Like, it's
Like,
different if
Okay,
you
so
say,
what you
"Oh,
want
I'm
to talk
playing
about? We'll talk later.
Yeah, like it's different if you say, "Oh, like I got, something special that I'm planning," or if you say something like, "Oh, I want to do something." Like there's so many other ways that you can hint to like a surprise, you know what I mean, without saying the words, "We need to talk."
right, because
About
you just
what?
like, for me, you just randomly throw that out there. Like, why?
Right.
Why throw that out there and then not have the conversation you clearly want to have?
Yeah,
Automatic
or
out
at
the
least
gate.
be available to have that conversation. Like before you even say we need to talk, you could text and be like, "Hey, you got a second to talk?" No, okay, let me know when you do.
Automatic out the gate. I'm automatically thinking something negative.
Right.
Yeah.
Because why can't you just say it?
Yeah, or just put it in a text message. And then if it requires a phone call, then we can make that a phone conversation.
Or don't say nothing at all and just wait till you see me later.
That
That part.
too.
Like, bro, those are my three.
Mm.
Joe, you had time to think. What are your three?
The first one is overall, I cannot stand people who lack common sense.
Mm.
This goes back to the knowing how to text and the knowing how to talk thing. It just reads uneducated to me, and I just can't. I really, really can't. Um, that's the first one. The second one is the narcissistic gaslighting qualities.
Ooh,
Can't
Jesus.
stand it. Can't stand it. They'll make no sense. Um, and the third one, uh, this goes back to Brandy's kind of sort of. I am not a trophy wife. I am not a pawn. I am not a statue. I am not an ornament. I am not a showpiece. I'm none of those things. I am a individual. I'm a human. I'm your partner. Treat me as such. Do not treat me as if I am what do they call those people? Oh my god. I can't think of the phrase. But don't treat me as like the thing on, don't treat me as an accessory. That's what it is. Do not treat me as an accessory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not something to add on to your outfit of choice for the day. Don't do that.
Mm.
That's big facts.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself as a potential spouse?
6.
Explain. That's on the card.
Ew. Oh. I don't feel like I'm financially, emotionally, or spiritually prepared for a partner in any capacity. So to be a spouse, even worse.
Okay.
Like, I got a lot to work on in myself before I'm like, let me add a wife to this. Nah, bro.
Well, I'm not getting married, so that question don't apply to me.
Answer the question.
I just did.
You don't know what God's plan is for your life. Answer the question.
Okay. So, all right, bet. Since you want me to answer it, I'm gonna say a 6 too, because I don't want to be married. I'm at the point where I'm just really focused on me and getting my life together, getting myself together. I'm finna go to nursing school, so I'm focused on that. So I'm focused on graduating, getting a job, moving, getting my own, like, bossing up. So And if God just so happens to sit next to me and be like, Brandy, I'm finna send you a husband, then I think about it.
Ain't no thinking about it. God said what finna happen. What you mean? Think about it.
He gotta sit next to me and like physically tell me, Brandy, I'm about to send you a husband.
All
That's
right.
the only way I'm gonna get married.
You can be like, I'm gonna think about it.
That's the only way. That's the only way I get married.
Whatever.
Joe, answer the question.
I'm a straight 10. Can't tell me nothing.
All
Well,
right.
good
Good
for
for
you,
you.
Lizzie.
All right.
I'm qualified.
All right. So I expect
I'm
you to be
glad
married
you're
in the next
qualified.
year.
Right.
Huh?
You finna
What you
plan
say?
your wedding, sis.
What you said?
I said I expect you to be married in the next year then.
Me too.
Oh, well, all right.
Where you at, homeboy?
You hear that? You hear that, call center fam?
Joe is ready for a husband. She is prepared to be a wife.
If y'all
Yes.
looking, husbands.
All is
If
in the
y'all out
works.
Husband
seeking
material
husbands,
only. We ain't accepting nothing less.
Nothing less.
especially because that's my sister. So if you coming, you better
Facts.
come correct.
And that's my sister in Christ.
Big facts.
Because you got to fight me. Okay?
Dude, I might fight
And
you
I don't fight
myself.
fair. What you say?
I said I might fight you myself.
You ain't making it past my doorstep, bro.
All right. I'm gonna ask maybe like one or two more questions. Which of your dating standards are absolutely non-negotiable?
Dating standards.
Like,
John?
what are you not going to accept when it comes to dating, going out? I'm not going to accept anything less than you treat me like a lady. Meaning,
Yeah.
I can be very traditional in the sense that, holding the door open for me, paying for my meal, or eye contact, stimulating conversation. Like, I want to know that you're interested in me. So, like,
Right.
just proper etiquette in general, the way that you sit. Do you know how to eat with a fork and a knife? Like, like things like that. Like, proper etiquette for me, I think, is definitely something that is part of the interview process, because I'm definitely like behavior focused. So in the beginning, I'm very quiet because I observe a lot. I watch people. I watch how they are. I watch how they talk to other people, how they handle themselves, all of those things. So I'm paying attention to that stuff. So etiquette goes a long way for me, because nonverbal communication sometimes speaks louder than verbal communication.
Yep.
So I pay attention to that a lot. So that for me, I expect you to do that, because when you do things, when you hold the door open, I mean, that makes me feel like you got a couple, you got some good solid men in your family that taught you right, how to treat a woman, how to make a lady feel special, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, I'll say treat me with respect. Let's kind of go hand in hand with what you just said, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So no need to elaborate. John, what's yours?
I'm not a meal ticket, so give me the give me the respect. Like don't bother saying yes to a date with me if you don't actually want to go on a date with me. Like, don't just use me for a meal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you gonna come out with me and then we not gonna have like solid conversation, like we're not gonna, engage as person to person instead of, oh, we just happen to go out together to eat, or oh, we just happen to go out together to go kart or whatever. And because I'm paying, you're like, okay, sure, I'll go. Like, I can do that with my friends, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a meal ticket. That's how I'd put it.
Okay. All right. This is the question. You don't have to answer this question, but this is one of the date night questions that you definitely should ask somebody. Do you want to be in a long-term committed relationship? Definitely ask that question, y'all. Because we need to know beforehand. You're not gonna waste my time.
Thanks.
Amen.
Okay. Last question of the night. When you get married, do you plan to share a bank account or keep separate ones? Explain your answer.
If I decide to get married, I'm gonna do both. We can have one joint account for like the important like household necessities, bills, groceries, um, stuff like that. But I will also have say we have separate accounts as well for our own leisure
Mm-hmm.
or for like emergencies.
Yeah, 100% agree with that answer. Definitely in both. That's it. John, you doing both? You doing one? What you doing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like it's common sense. Both.
Okay, cool. Well, that's it.
Yay!
Well,
Get ready for draft day, y'all.
Yeah, so great. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode. Um, as we stated, we are moving through our courtship series. We kind of threw a couple episodes into one, but we will probably dive deeper next episode since we kind of talked about 4 seasons in one episode. So we'll give you a little bit more next week, but this really was the drafting episode. So like I said, if you are not ready to move forward, go back to the beginning, go back to that episode on Ruth, rewatch, take notes, go to the scouting episode, rewatch, take notes, or re-listen. Sorry. Or listen again. Sorry, that was not proper English. Yeah, don't be afraid to correct yourself, people. Yeah, but listen again and again and again and again until you're like, okay, I get it. I know what I need to do. I'm ready to go to the next step. Then join us here again for this episode. Listen again and again and again and again. Um, we will be back next week for a brand new episode. This will be the tryouts episode. And if you want to continue in the conversation of our question cards, because we had a lot of fun at our afterburner last week when we asked those relationship debates cards. So I will be asking more questions from the date night edition of tonight's conversation. So join in the fun. Be there for afterburner 8:45 p.m. Central Time. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be a bunch of laughs because that's where the real party is at. Thank you guys again for joining us at the Christian Call Center, where
Jesus is on the main line and we're on line 2.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Peace.